The REI Anniversary Sale celebrates our history, and with up to 30% off May 15th through the 25th, you'll find just what you need for your next outdoor adventure.
Need a vacation but don't have the funds? Don't worry yourselves. Just stop by Halfway Tree Authentic Jamaican Cuisine for a quick trip to the islands. Enjoy some authentic Jamaican food from Halfway Tree, named Best of Rhode Island by Rhode Island Monthly Magazine. Plus, every Saturday, it's New England's #1 weekly Caribbean party with Paul Michael. Halfway Tree is located in downtown Providence at 150 Chestnut Street. Visit us online at halfwaytreeri.com. Halfway Tree is Rhode Island's leading source for authentic Jamaican food and vibes.
Seekonk Speedway's Memorial Day weekend with NASCAR home track racing Saturday night and Thrill Show Sunday night, featuring spectator drags and crazy figure eights. SeekonkSpeedway.com for details.
From Foster to Fall River and Franklin to Freetown, you're listening to Southern New England's most informative talk lineup. Plus, news, traffic, and weather. Never miss it on News Talk 630 and 99.7 FM.
It's my station.
WPRO.
And yes, we are back. We are the Coalition, loud and proud, outrage porn-free, civilly disobedient radio, Facebook.com/The Coalition Radio, on the mighty, mighty Twitter at Coalition_radio. Our website, coalitionradio.us. We blog, we post, we stream, we get into people's grill here. Confrontational radio at its best. Dave, you got a great quote about if the media, something about the media being advertising.
If you're not adversarial, you're advertising.
There you go. And we can't. We're not worried about losing access. Why?
Because we don't have access. It's a beautiful thing.
And if a politician won't answer us, what do?
We make fun of them,
and then we make it up. Okay. Listen, again. Broadcasting live here from the Salty Shack on the Wampanoag Trail. Joining us today is Myrna George. She is the Chief Executive Officer, as we like to say, the Grand Poobah, Chief Water Buffalo of the South County Tourism Council here in Rhode Island, covering all of Washington County and then some. When last we left, we were sort of defining and refining the message that our government is giving us versus about tourism councils here in the state. You wanted to clear the air on a couple of things.
A couple of things. First of all, let me just say that we have an active social media campaign that is run by three very talented women in my office, and I have to give them haiku praise because they have established relationships not only with the local people but with advertising agencies across this country to make sure that we're getting as much editorial as we possibly can get, and they've been very successful at that. But also, when we're talking about family-owned businesses, it's important to realize, let me just point out that we have the Weekapaug Inn, which is truly one of the most natural places on the planet, and it is sister property to the Ocean House. We have lots of family-owned businesses in Misquamicut, and as you come up the shoreline, the Coast Guard House has just been redesigned, and they're all offering pretty much organic, locally grown vegetables as well as beef products, lamb products, and certainly we all know Perry Razzo at the Matunic Oyster Bar has done extraordinary things, and he is now internationally known for his aquaculture capabilities and teaching people. But more importantly, he brings visitors in, and you can bring 60 people at a time in to see Perry Razzo's oyster farm, and he will put them in waders and take them out and have them pull up their own oysters and then come in and eat their oysters. And life doesn't get any better than that when you can offer somebody a natural experience, particularly if they're on vacation, particularly if they're children. We have biomes in North Kingstown that is seeing great popularity. A science teacher has begun an initiative there where they have begun to bring people in to have firsthand experience with all of our aquaculture that can be housed indoors.
And I think you touched on something really important here where, you said if you make the appointment with Perry Razzo, he'll throw on the waders, take you out to the oyster beds. There's certainly a depth of that experience. It's not one of these like, yeah, let's go out to eat and we had a nice time. It's like you learn a little bit about where your food is coming from. You learn a little bit about the business. You learn a little bit about. So I think that there's a richness there
And
that I don't think, somebody who lives, sleeps, eats, and breathes South County is going to be the person who understands that depth and the necessity of that.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it's very important if you give people that type of experience that can be fun, they'll have more reason to respect it and come back and want to explore other things and do other things that are pretty a natural state, an authentic experience, if you will. I think a lot of people are looking for something that they don't do 9 to 5 for their job, and they're coming in to do something much different than what they can do if they're living in a more urban environment.
It's fair to say that in the years that the Tourism Council has been in place, South County has really matured as a destination. Initially, you had some strip honky-tonk motels along the beach where people would just go down for the day, and it's really turned under your guidance, under the leadership of the council, into really you can spend a week there embracing everything from agriculture to restaurants to tourism. I mean, there's everything you need.
Oh, that characterization takes me back a little bit because I don't remember anything honky-tonk ever being in South County. However, let me quickly say, you might be interested to note that the McKeed Bead White Towers in Narragansett that goes over Ocean Road at one time was attached to a casino as well as Grand Hotels, and all of our trains came down and put people on our shoreline before Newport ever had their mansions, because the mansions, if you remember, came at a later date. This was really much more, and we had polo and we had all of those things going on there, and Newporters came to visit with us and took the train to get here.
Talk about,
and now I go over there to enjoy their time.
Right.
Talk about, if you will, the community outpouring post Sandy. I mean, that was remarkable to see firsthand how the community reacted to the devastation of Hurricane Sandy on the South County shoreline. I
must tell you that I made a plea to my colleagues across the state to support the revival and the renewal of what had happened, particularly in Mesquamacut and parts of Westerly, parts of Narragansett. And they did come out en masse to support us, including the governor. We did a black and white ball at the Ocean House. But more importantly, I think it was really heartwarming to see kids. I saw DEM wives get off of school buses and come out to shovel sand out of those businesses. And I don't know that there was anything that made me prouder to be a Rhode Islander than to see that. Never mind a South Countyite, but a Rhode Islander. We really did hang together on that.
How many of the businesses, came back after that because of that community effort?
The majority of them were out open for the next season.
Mm-hmm. And so again, operating under the umbrella of the Tourism Council, as well as Independent Chamber of Commerce, as well as business organizations within the community, you've effectively you've created your own machine down there. Economically.
Absolutely. It's a very powerful machine that's seen double-digit increases. It's amazing that you could have any industry in this state that has seen double-digit increases in a budget since 2009. And you want to and you want to retool that machine without consulting anybody?
Genetically modified economy.
The overall impact, is there a dollar number you can attach to the economic activity in South County?
Overall,
in terms of tourism,
in terms of tourism,
right.
I can only give you my numbers, and that would be a double-digit increase, about 12% so far this year.
All right. So, is there an overall number that every year that, in terms of tourism, the economic impact has been published? The economic impact of tourism in South County?
I think that those numbers would be through the Department of Revenue. They could give you a much clearer understanding of those numbers.
Because, quite frankly, you've got a pretty lean and mean operation down there, don't you?
Absolutely. We're very proud of it, too.
Right. So in terms of driving taxpayer dollars, in terms of the efficient use, it's almost unheard of in Rhode Island that you're able to deliver, quite frankly, the impact you are on the budget you are.
I think many people would agree with you.
Right. And particularly given that most of your budget is actually generated as a result of your own efforts,
Mm-hmm.
it's as a libertarian, it's almost perfect.
I still agree with you.
Well, and I say all of that because most recently, Gina Raimondo's comments and public statements regarding tourism dollars expended have been PolitiFact, have been found by the Providence Journal to be mostly false. Kind of perhaps one of the more underreported PolitiFacts of all time. You know, she comes out with these sort of, and this is not to be a Gina bashing, not this week anyway. But she comes out with these generic broad numbers of what we can do in terms of number of jobs created, this being underfunded, this being needs to be rechanneled, all the business euphemisms that you could ever hope for. It's a George Carlin skit come to life, all right? But at the same time, there's no substance to any of those numbers, and no one is really willing to provide any outside verification of what will be the impact of this new Brighter Brights, Whiter Whites tourism plan.
We'd all like to see the governor be successful. It's troubling not to have had a larger conversation with her about it.
I think what kills me about listening to this whole story is here you have this, grassroots, organic, very cooperative model that you're working on in South County. I don't understand. I mean, if I'm sitting in the governor's chair, I look around to the different tourism councils and say, okay, who's top of the heap? Who's doing it better than anybody else? I mean, I'm looking at your South County Style magazine here. I mean, a list of events, pages and pages. There's something every night of the week in this book. Mm-hmm. Listings for hotels, restaurants, you name it. Like everything is in here. Everything to do with South County. So I don't understand, why the inclination is not to say, hey, you know what? Let's go talk to Myrna George at South County and get her take on how to kind of take this same model and spread it out to the other tourism councils.
Well, I think one reason is I think they want one size to fit all, and when they're looking at the largest numbers, and they are probably convention and visitors numbers, those numbers are in Providence and Newport. And so you're looking at that and you're saying, well, how do I compare that to what's going on in South County or Block Island or any other place in the state? And the fact of the matter is we're different animals. Convention and Visitors Bureau is a different animal than South County is. But South County has grown exponentially in the past year and has the only 5-star hotel and has seen increases not only in Coventry, not only in Westerly, but also in Narragansett. There have been lots of success stories in the southern end of the state that can't be dismissed because we're not a Convention and Visitors Bureau. We are a solid family leisure destination. That is a different market than Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Yeah, you're not going after the event planner. You're going after mom and dad.
Exactly.
Right.
And therein lies
and I gear it that way. Yes, right.
Absolutely. Well, how can we find out if we're the average Rhode Islander who, one of the things we talked about offline, by the way, was that we all love South County, but none of us want to tell their friends from out of state about it because we don't want all those outlanders coming in. But hypothetically, if we wanted them to find out about South County, what are some of the great ways, and what are some events coming up that people just need to know about?
Well, you certainly have the air show coming up. You have all sorts of festivals that are going on throughout the summer season, including Rhythm and Roots Festival, the Washington County Fair Festival, the art show, the Wickford Art Show. There are so many that are listed, and you have them in the magazine. They can be found online. They can be found on the mobile website. There are lots of ways, and if all of that fails, you can always pick up the phone and speak to a live person at South County Tourism Council.
Well, Myrna, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for all of your efforts. Thank you for being successful at what you do. Thank you for actually, thank you, because I think what we need to do is drop you in the middle of the GA one night, lock the doors, and you can perform an economic intervention.
Thank you for the opportunity to be appreciated. Thank you.
Well, again, Myrna George, Chief Executive Officer, South County Tourism Council. They can be found at www.southcountyri.com. This podcast will be distributed, so if you missed anything, please come back to the coalitionradio.us, and we have to have this up by midweek. Folks, in support of local businesses, much lip service is given in the state of local business. Make a point, whether it's Crazy Burger, whether it's some of the fancier restaurants in